2020 was awful and 2021 ain't looking much better. But in the meantime, here's some games that weren't awful. These games I played for the first time last year, but didn't necessarily come out in 2020. I didn't buy a ton of new games in 2020, and despite that, I also didn't make a lot of progress through my backlog. And in fact, even added more games to it. I heard Hades was pretty good. I wouldn't know, haven't turned it on. And yes, I know this video is late, but you know what they say, better late than pregnant. I ain't paying no child support. First, some quick honorable mentions. Inner Space, you fly the plane. Gear Club Unlimited, you drive the car. WRC, you drive the car. Horizon Chase Turbo, you drive the car through a motion sickness simulator. Adrenaline Rush Miami Drive, you drive the car, avoid the cops. Pretty relatable. Among Us, you kill the people. Jump Rope Challenge, you jump rope. It's the free game you played when Ring Fit Adventure was out of stock during quarantine because of all the scalpers, you pieces of shit! Super Kirby Clash, it's a Kirby. Hover, it's like Jet Set Radio, except instead of skating, you run around. And honestly, I have no idea what's going on in this game. It's just kind of fun to run around in. Dead Cells. Dead Cells is described as a Roguevania, a combination of procedurally generated roguelike games and action and exploration-based Metroidvania games. And what do you mean I can't just copy something from my review? Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's XCOM for babies. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. It's basically single-player D&D. You recruit a whole party of disposable slaves, pawns, and you do some adventuring. It probably would have scored pretty high on this list, but I stupidly picked the Ranger Rogue archetype because I was playing a Ranger Rogue in my online D&D game at the same time. And one thing I did not take into account is that in video games, I can't aim for shit. So I have to let my AI party members kill everything for me while I'm essentially rolling a nat 1 on every arrow I shoot. Fun game, but I'm probably going to have to restart it. So maybe next year. First game I'll talk about, Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've played all the mainline Animal Crossing games and even the dumbass board game one. And New Horizons is the best one. You can build stuff, play dress up. That's about it. Why are the villagers so cardboard? Why is the music so bad? Why are there so many menus? Why are there so many roaches in my house? Why does everyone else's village look way better than mine? Why is the online basically working off of smoke signals? Despite my attempts to really get into it, I've accepted that Animal Crossing just isn't for me. I stopped consistently playing about 2 or 3 months after it came out. After terraforming my village, I was just bored as hell. Animal Crossing is boring. Top 12 games I like more than Animal Crossing. Handbrake turn! Number 12, Darkest Dungeon. This game's an old school style grim dark dungeon crawler with turn-based positional combat, where the biggest nightmare is navigating the user interface. I'm not entirely sure how to use items. It's the most relatable game on this list because the longer you're in the creepy dungeon, the more your characters freak the fuck out, and the only way to cure your PTSD after battle is booze, hookers, and Jesus Christ! While it looks like a medieval fantasy, it actually takes place in America since everyone has pre-existing conditions that aren't covered by insurance, and they pop up at the worst possible times. And if you die in the game, you die for real, but on the inside, since this game has permadeath and you realize you suck at this game because you lost too many characters and you're going to have to start the game from the beginning again. This game's really hard, alright? But your characters can also survive on 0 HP for a while, but you'll never really know when they're going to go down for good. At least I don't know, I don't fully understand this game. Number 11, Blasphemous. It's a Metroidvania, they're all the same, except in this one, everything looks real gothic and fucking disgusting. The tone and difficulty can be easily described as 2D Dark Souls. The music is mostly Spanish guitar, I can't read the font, and gameplay wise, it's a Metroidvania, they're all the same. Symphony of the Night, Super Metroid, they're all the same. Axiom Verge, Hollow Knight, they're all the same. Cave Story, Bloodstained, Shantae, they're all the same. Dishonorable mention number 1, Fire Emblem 3 Houses Cindered Shadows DLC. Well, this sucked. Story-wise, I mean, it's a Fire Emblem game. If you want to know if the story's going to be good, flip a coin. Heads its Path of Radiance, tails its Fates. Cindered Shadows feels very fanfiction-y with all 3 house leaders allying themselves with the underground mole people they literally just met for a long weekend. Spoiler, but you're not missing anything. The villain is a big old simp for bileless e-girl mom who's dead as fuck. The only thing that maybe could have saved it would have been playable Geralt on the final map. He keeps getting mentioned in the story, would have made a ton of sense for him to show up, but he never does. Huge missed opportunity there. Also, playable Rhea would have made sense for the final map. If you're gonna make me play through these shittily designed chapters, at least have some fan service at the end. Gameplay wise, it's just as bad if not worse. It's 7 chapters long, including the final map that's just a big boss battle. 3 of the 7 maps are reused from the main game. One of the new maps is used for 2 of the chapters that are already in this short campaign. I've played some or all of every Fire Emblem game. These are some of the worst chapters I've ever played, and that's due to the avalanche of reinforcements. More reinforcements than the Battle of Antietam! And there's very limited customization in this campaign. A lot of the options you normally have are just gone. It doesn't feel like I'm playing Fire Emblem, it feels like I'm playing chess. And if I wanted to play chess, I'd be playing Wargroove. The 4 new classes you get for the main game are pretty good, and the 4 characters you unlock are all pretty good characters, even though Balthus' washboard abs makes me super jealous. However, the paralogs they unlock for the main game game are two of the worst chapters I've played in Fire Emblem history, especially Balthus's, since they have the same constant coming all over my face of reinforcements. Number 10 best games, Ape Out. The whole game is explained in its title. You're an ape and you're trying to get out. I love the minimalist graphical style and the jazz drums soundtrack that reacts to what you're doing in the game. This game is proof that gorillas and zoos wake up every day and choose mercy instead of violence, because this game demonstrates that fighting an actual ape who wanted out would be fucking terrifying. Even those Planet of the Apes movies weren't science fiction, they were warnings. Cautionary tales of what happens if we were to run out of bananas. Number 9, Furi. It's probably pronounced Fury, but Ravio from A Link Between Worlds gives you motivational slam poetry between each boss fight. And that's all this game is, a series of boss fights. Very, very difficult boss fights that remind you you're getting worse at high-speed action games as you get older because your reflexes are slowing down. And all the deaths remind you that you're getting closer and closer to the end. You die in the game, you die for real. Eventually. But yeah, this game is hard. Part of it is because of the very small margins of error to dodge and small windows of time to react correctly to dodge and counter. This is pretty fair difficulty. You learn more and predict the boss better the more you die and retry. 10 years ago me would be able to get through this in one try, but not today me. One foot in the grave, baby! The annoying part is that each boss is split into phases, and if you take too much damage during one phase, then the boss regenerates and you have to start that phase over again. It's an annoying artificial gameplay lengthener, and I'm too arrogant to turn the difficulty down, so playing this game instills me with Furi. Fury, dang it! Dishonorable mention number 2, Car Quest. My good friend Vasco Games told me about how good this game is, so I saw it on sale for 25 cents. What a steal, I naively thought. They'll call me the New England Patriots because dang, I want that quarterback. This is a game where you steer a car and collect stuff, and that's it. This game feels like it's a student's final project for a game design class that they barfed up onto the eShop. The game functions, but it's not fun, and you lied to me, Mr. Games. You're a liar. Everyone go to his excellent channel, hit the subscribe button, and let him know how much of a liar he is. Number 8, Jet Lancer. It's Luftbrausers but colorful. You improve your ship, fly in 2 dimensions, and the controls are super tight. The battles are controlled chaos. It's a lot of fun to play through. There's a story, I wasn't listening. It's just a few lines of dialogue between missions anyways. And yet again, another game on this list that I cannot beat. I'm stuck on one level towards the end where you need to kill a certain amount of enemies within a time limit to rack up your score, and I just can't do it. I'm not even close. And the enemies don't even spawn fast enough for me to kill, or they spawn on the other side of the map and I have to waste precious time boosting across the map just to get to more targets. There were similar levels earlier in the game and it took me multiple tries to beat those ones as well. And I finally reached the point where I cannot make progress in the game and I'm filled with Furi. Fury, dang it! This section of the video should have been called Games I Suck At, but you know what? You shouldn't have to be good at a video game to enjoy it. And even though I sucked at the past couple of games I talked about so hard that I'm stuck and can't make any progress, I still enjoyed them up to that point. But now for a game I don't suck at. Number 7, Kuukiyomi, Consider It 2. It's a funny game that's quick little micro games. It's a little similar style maybe the WarioWare series. In Consider It, you assess the situation really quickly and try to be as nice and as considerate to others as possible. Oh, I see what they did there. A lesson that some people in 2020 clearly never received. You can beat the game in about an hour and the whole thing is hilarious, especially when you accidentally screw up, and after you finish the game you unlock Inconsiderate mode where you try to be as much of a dick as possible. Dishonorable mention number 3, Pokemon Shield Postgame. My friend who was trying to complete the Pokedex in Sword version asked me for a Shield doggo, so I went to catch it for him since I never bothered to do it, and oh my god, that entire experience was terrible. You have to fight Swordbert and Shield Ernie, whatever the fuck his name is, like 80 times, and you have to do all those max raid battles. It takes so long for you to get the chance to catch Zawarudo or whatever the fuck his name was. And why is the Pokemon so slow? Like, the battle system is so slow. The cracks in this game really start to show when you're not having a good time, and I straight up wasn't having a good time. Number 6, best games, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Were you excited to play Breath of the Wild's prequel? Well, too bad, it's not a prequel, it's an alternate version of the events from 100 years ago, which isn't really a spoiler because literally the first cutscene features time travel being done by the little guardian that could, which should already be a cue to the player that this ain't gonna be what you thought it was gonna be, which I for one am totally fine with. The story of what happened 100 years ago before Breath of the Wild had already been told through all the flashbacks in the game. If you want to know what happened, you can watch those again, or you can read this book, Creating a Champion, for more details, or you can watch Monster Maze's series on it. I'd rather have new story scenarios as opposed to the same stuff we've essentially already seen. Speaking of, the cutscenes in Age of Calamity are really well done and the right amount of frequent. The gameplay is like you're one of those G Fuel filled Breath of the Wild speedrunners that dominate every enemy using every single tool and technique in Link's arsenal, except instead of You just press the Y button? I usually get bored of the Warriors games because their gameplay is usually, you press buttons. But Age of Calamity is advanced. You press buttons. There are just enough game mechanics and the enemy variety to keep you from getting bored. And you're constantly unlocking new characters who play very differently from each other to keep the gameplay fresh. Or you can just do what I did and play as Emblem for most of the battles. But even the 4 Sheikah Slate runes that everyone gets function differently from each character. The game's a lot of fun and the animations are amazing. Even though the special move animations get a little bit, yeah, I get it, after you've seen it for the 200th time. And there are a crap ton of quests. I'm not doing them. Back to games I suck at. Number 5, Celeste. Celeste is a game where you play as Celeste and climb Mount Madeline. Wait. Celeste is a game all about listening to good music while triumphing through adversity, the main adversary being its perfectly Madeline-sized holes that you have to squeeze through. And the true final boss, your greatest enemy, is yourself. And wanting to give up because this game's hard, but you have checkpoints for days and fast respawn time that encourages you to keep trying. But after several hundred deaths, I finally beat it. There are extra levels at the end and B-sides and C-sides, but those aren't important. The credits play to beat the game, don't make me go back to it. This is a really good game, but fuck this game. To honorable mention number 4, time for the controversial takes, Final Fantasy XII The Zodiac Age. Final Fantasy XII is a really well-made game that just isn't fun to play. It is boring as hell. Oh my god, I am so bored. I like the systems and the music and the fast forward feature, but the game itself is so goddamn boring. Also, the main character sucks and shouldn't be in the story at all. It should have been Ash or Bash. He stands around in the cutscenes doing nothing like a dumbass. Should have been called Final Fantasy XII The Fuck You Vaughn Age. Top games number 4, Valkyria Chronicles 1. It's a strategy RPG, World War I, but it's anime. And then halfway through the game, it's just anime. Instead of your tank being a big dude, it's a literal tank that you drive around in and units can hide behind it, and you manually aim your gun for headshots. On your team, you can also have 2 of the main characters from Skies of Arcadia Legends, oddly enough. Vice maniacally tortures people. And Aika is a scout who can easily get killed. Whoops. Also, this game has permadeath, but only if your units get claimed by the enemy before your medic picks them up, which they won't actually try to do. Video games. Munch, munch, munch. Video games. Munch, munch, munch. Welcome back to another episode of Snacking Gamer, where we look at how easy it is to play a video game while eating food. Today we're looking at Valkyria Chronicles 1. How easy is it to eat during this game? Very easy. You move your units, then you watch your enemy phase. Great time to eat your sandwich. Maybe a little slice of pie. Key lime. Lemon meringue. Number 3, Snakeybus. This is just a regular game where you drive a regular bus. Really should have been called Bus Simulator. I don't see what's so unique about it. Oh my god! You remember that old Nokia cell phone game Snake? No? Well, this game is Snake in 3 dimensions. The longer you play for and drop people off, the longer your bus gets. And if you stop moving, it's a game over. You do have a jump function, but it's very janky and has a long cooldown time, so you can't really rely on it. The music is all chill lo-fi beats to relax and crash your bus to. The gameplay is chaotic, but the music is super chill. It's all about the balance. It's hypnotizing. My favorite map is the museum map since it's so simple, so I can plan my bus moves in advance. For a while, I was actually trying to go for a world record on it, but no matter how well I think I'm doing, I can just never do it. I'll never be as good as Dylon or Foreskin. Just honorable mention number 5, Dragon Quest XI's Echoes of an Elusive Age demo. Boo! You stink! Look, just hear me out. I tried it out because everyone drops to their knees for this game, so I played the demo, which is about the first 6 hours of the game. It ends right after you recruit the 2 blonde girls, and it reminds me of what I just said about Final Fantasy XII. It's a very well-made game with excellent music that is very, very boring to play. I barely even look at the screen, and the battles mostly play themselves. It feels like a game made 25 years ago, and even though I grew up playing old school RPGs, I don't mean that as a compliment. It's a very bare minimum standard RPG battle system. It feels like there's mechanics missing. It barely requires any player input. I had to watch YouTube videos while playing through a dungeon just to avoid falling asleep. You can run around during the battles. It doesn't do anything, you just run around like a fucking idiot. All of the characters have one of 3 Toriyama faces, and I see why it's called Elusive Age, because where's the plot? It's eluding me. It's been 6 hours and nothing has happened. But I acknowledge that RPGs sometimes take a while before they get good. So if someone in the comments who tells me it gets better later and worth continuing, then I'll consider getting the full game. If it's on sale. Possibly. at least for the music. I'm glad they were able to use real instruments for the Switch version instead of the shitty MIDI tracks in the PlayStation version, since Dragon Quest's composer is just a real piece of shit of a human being. Number 2, God Eater 3. God Eater is anime Monster Hunter. That's the only thing I knew about the series when I downloaded this demo like 2 years ago. I finally got around to playing the demo last summer, and the first level was enough to immediately convince me to buy the full game. First of all, the music. Not only is the soundtrack incredible, you also start the game dual wielding. That's it, that's all it takes for me to like your game. You can dual wield while amazing music plays. That's all it takes. Most of the time. And the gameplay is pretty much just Monster Hunter but more anime, which is not at all a bad thing. You have a whole team of competent fighters with you on every mission instead of just a pair of pussies, and sometimes they'll beat the level for you while you're just dicking around. There's an actual story with cutscenes that I was not paying attention to. All I remember is that it takes place after the apocalypse, regular people can't breathe the air, demons, and tiggle bitties. The fights are much more of a fast-paced button-mashy action game than Monster Hunter's more tactical combat, and the controls are kinda weird. You have to press 2 buttons to do a lot of the basic techniques, and it's a lot to remember. There's a combo to switch your 2 swords into a glaive, you can switch it into a gun, you got special moves, you can pull out a demon mouth and bore the enemies, all types of stuff. I couldn't even remember how to activate the shield until after I was done with this quest. Whoops. There are a bunch of other weapons that you can switch to that I literally never played, I just stuck with the dual blades. And there's upgrade trees, and buff to equip to power yourself up. You know, all the standard action RPG stuff. And did I mention that the music is fucking incredible? There's not as much enemy variety or stage variety as Monster Hunter. Monhun has like 50 plus monsters to fight, God Eater has like 15 maybe? And like 4 maps that are all basically just hallways. But at the end of the day, it's a really fun game. Great game to play before Monster Hunter Rise comes out on March 26, 2021. Number 1 game I played for the first time in 2020. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. What? I mean, yeah, I played the original a couple of times, but this is a new game. You got Future Connected Epilogue, alright, that's new. Besides, the original was the best game of all time, and the Definitive Edition is a better version of the original. Why wouldn't it be number 1? Get off my back! Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. I truly appreciate it, and it really does help a ton. And if you want to know why the original Xenoblade is the best game of all time, you can watch this video. I'm doing a whole video series reviewing all the Xenoblade games if you want to check that out. Remember to play more indie games, and that's it. Video's over.